Hi, my name is Brooke Lipman.
And I'm Dr. Deb Lipman.
And this is Wine Together,
a podcast where we drink some wine and have a chat.
So sit back, relax, and get that corkscrew ready. That was loud. What? It's fine.
Okay, sorry about that. Again, another time when I forgot to turn the volume down on my phone. And I've made the cardinal sin of making a recording. I shampooed my hair this morning. I don't know if you recall, we had a guest, was it in January? When we had Tracy Metz on?
Yeah.
She said, number one rule of video is a good 2 days wash, 2 days out from your wash.
I think your hair looks fine.
Oh, thank you. But I feel like there's a lot of frizzing. But thank you. Okay, so, yes, cheers. Okay, I know. I'm not supposed to be drinking alcohol, but I'm just going to have this one glass, maybe not even the full glass. Because it is a new wine that I really, really, really want to try, not just sip on Brooke's glass. So it's hibiscus, and is it himbeer and hibiscus? So raspberry and hibiscus. Mm-hmm. So super excited about it. It's JP Chenet. We've had JP Chenet before, so we'll have a little more about the wine on our Instagram post. But yeah, cheers again. So it is French, so we say...
Santé.
Santé. One more time, just so we get it right. Okay, so let's see. It does smell good.
Ooh. You know what this tastes like? You know what this tastes like? There's
flowers.
No, it tastes like a tea.
Yes.
There's a tea. It's like iced and it's fizzy.
It's a hibiscus tea.
No, it's specifically like from somewhere. Maybe it's somewhere I tried in London. I don't know.
Okay, maybe because there we go. Maybe in London, but which by the way, I'm going to London.
How dare you?
So I just want to say big shout out to my friend that's taking me along with her, Caroline. I want to say thank you. I'm so excited. I'm going with Caroline, our partner. I don't know who else is going, but we're going to a rock concert. So we're going to talk about rock music today. We're going to a rock concert with Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. And so I'm super excited being Gen X. And I'm from the early days of Gen X, 1966. So, super proud of that. But yes, very excited, trying to get my wardrobe together. I had to go buy shoes the other day, and I'm trying to find just the right blouse for the concert. And just so excited. Don't know how I'm going to do my makeup and hair and all that stuff. But I'm very, very excited. And I'll do shopping for you while I'm there.
Okay.
I'll get you some tea, and I'm going to look for your trench coat,
there is a specific tea shop I want you to go to.
Okay.
You don't have to get anything from there, but I want you to go because it's really cute.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I will.
Well, where we're going shopping at. Give me that.
You're going up. Are you guys going on to Oxford Street at all though?
I don't know.
I know you're going up to Camden.
Yes, we're going to Camden. So.
That it's you can take the tube from. I don't know. I'll have to remember, but it's not the closest to. It's on the other side of Regent's Park from Oxford Street. Kind of.
Tea definitely tastes like the hard candies, like Jolly Ranchers. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's really good. This is a fun summer treat.
It tastes like Teavana tea. That's what it's a specific Teavana tea that it tastes like.
Okay.
That's what it is.
All right. Well, it does have hibiscus, and a lot of teas have hibiscus. So the fruit teas and the floral teas. So kind of say it's good.
This
Yeah.
would, like,
I
you
would
could
buy
make...
this again when I can drink alcohol more.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that expensive either.
Yeah, I know the first photo that I took of it. This is so funny. I had to delete the photo because it still had the little $4.95 from Otto's on it. It's like, oh my god, I left the price tag on it. So yeah, we got it from Otto's for 4 francs 95, so or 4 francs 95. So so yeah, $4.95. You know, that's kind of, and sometimes that's kind of, we think, oh god, $4.95, that must be a special bottle of wine. It's kind of, it's not our $2.95, $3.95 bottle of wine. So yeah, it's not. But anyway, rock and roll. There's so many. There's so much history there. Obviously a lot of history. For me, I remember rock and roll growing up. I'm a huge fan of rock music. And rock music, as far as what I could find, in the quick little search that I did, it did originate in the United States. So in the 1950s, think Elvis. But then by the 60s, you got other groups coming in, think the Beatles. We've got a
Beatles.
We won't tell the secret about our little thing because we don't want to embarrass anybody. But anyway, yeah, the Beatles. And so then, rock music has really just grown. But the big thing about rock music is, what goes into the sound. And so what goes into the sound of rock music? Do you know?
Okay, no, but I have a really fun fact about a Beatles song.
Okay, well, let me finish this because I'll forget. Okay. That's the only reason I'm interrupted.
Okay.
Because you could probably remember better than I can. But those sounds are the electric guitar, the bass guitar, the drums, and the vocals. So there's, that unique sound with those four pieces of the sound are what makes up rock music. Anyway, what's the funny...
Okay, so in the song Hey Jude, about 2 minutes 50 seconds, or maybe it's 2 minutes 58 seconds, something like that, very softly you can hear either, I think it's John Lennon, say the F word, because I think he dropped something, or I can't remember the whole story behind it. But I listened to the song after I learned that fact, and yes, indeed, if you listen very closely, you can hear him say the F word.
That's so funny.
And it's really funny.
That's so funny. And what rock musician? That's not something you'd ever think a rock musician would say, right? I mean, you'd never expect them to say that word. I don't think
that's true.
Facetious. That's the F word I'm thinking about. Facetious. They would.
That's not the F word I'm thinking about.
Okay, we're just checking. Just checking. Don't know.
I'll have you listen to it later.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you kind of grew up listening to rock music because obviously that's a lot of what we listened to when you guys were younger. Were what either we grew up listening to or what we learned. Kind of. When I think of music. And I think of teenagers and music. I always think this is one safe way that I think teenagers find their own way. This is, teenagers are just the teenage brain. The whole purpose of teenhood is to find your way, to find out who you are. And so this is when a lot of teenagers begin to pull away from authority. They pull away from their parents, especially. But, you build the right relationship, and that's not forever. But, this is how you kind of find your space and your, where you want to be, who you want to be. And a lot of times that's manifested through music. And it's so funny because we, as far as I know, never said to any of you guys, that is horrible. Turn that music down. In fact, we encouraged music.
Well, I mean, there was I don't know if it's necessarily a joke, because it's kind of true, where Dad doesn't have a favorite song. His favorite song is whatever his kid's favorite song is.
That's probably true. And so, that sounds like something Mason would say. Mason is so intuitive. He is...
First of all, that's something I said.
Oh, you said it. Okay, I'm sorry. That does sound like a Mason thing, though. Okay, Mason has always been our wordsmith in the family. He's made up words that we've adopted and kept forever. And so, but that is so definitely true. And I don't know, I'm not a morning person. I don't know if y'all know this. I am not a morning person. In fact, I am the captain of the allergic to mornings team, and I even have a shirt that says so. And so I proudly wear that often.
We have to do a pajama episode.
Oh, yes, let's do that.
I have some fun pajamas.
Okay, yes, let's definitely do that. Saturday mornings, often, no, not every Saturday morning, especially not for the month of June, because your dad had a specific bike challenge he had to meet, and so we didn't have him on Saturday mornings in the month of June. But Saturday mornings, a lot of times your dad will make breakfast. And when y'all were little, I did that, but now it is just the three of us.
Yeah,
he does that.
we all usually have to make our own, like, breakfast and stuff. So
yeah, and so he turns on his music. Well, again, I need time to come into the day, and I cannot walk out there when he's preparing breakfast because it is so loud, and it is like headbanger rock and roll.
Not always. Sometimes he has the Star Wars song.
Okay, well, I hadn't heard that. No, and so I just like this past Saturday, the moment I got up to like get ready for my day and just kind of emerge for the first moment, I walk out and I'm hearing what is the song by? I think it's AC/DC. Thunder.
Oh my gosh, I literally have it on my phone.
Silly that I am not.
I should know this because I love AC/DC.
Yes, you do.
Thunderstruck. Wait.
Was on, and it was loud.
Yeah, Thunderstruck.
And I was like, I can't do this. So I walked out there, I turned around, and I walked back to my room and closed the door. And then it was like, well, breakfast is almost ready. I said, let me know when it is, because I can't. That's just too loud. Well, I can turn it down, but honestly, I don't think he can. He can't hear it. He can't feel it when it's turned down, and he needs to feel it. And this is just so funny how, even though I like that music, I don't like it first thing in the morning. I don't like it first thing in the morning. I have to ease into my day, and it takes me a few hours. I can't do rock and roll in the morning. I used to, but I can't anymore.
What about Queen?
I can do Queen in the morning. I can do Queen in the morning, but it doesn't have the heavy instrumentals that that AC/DC has. And look, I'm not knocking AC/DC because I love AC/DC.
I think it's more heavy metal than it is like rock and roll.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
So because there's like, so there's like rock, metal, heavy metal. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause you get it, right?
I really don't know. I do get it. I don't know the differences because I know there's the difference. A lot of it is in the sound, and so I don't know the differences of the sound pieces.
I think it's the bass is what is different.
And from what I understand, the bass is always kind of the one that leads the rhythm of a song. But yeah, anyway, but rock music is it is definitely something that we've always we've never shied away from it. I guess is the best way to say it. So, and I get to go to a rock concert. I'm going to go see Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. Don't know if I mentioned that, so definitely want to mention that. Okay. So, I knew I mentioned that I was going to a concert. I didn't know if I mentioned that.
Yes, you did.
See how old I'm getting? Can't remember from one moment to the next what came out of my mouth.
It's okay. I can't either.
But, I love the fact, I love the fact that, I like having all my music kind of in one space. And so I love my Apple Music library. And so the other day, I was looking for something different, and I just asked Apple to suggest something for me. And they suggested yacht rock. Don't know if y'all heard of yacht rock. I know somebody has because I know I'm not the only person who. And so anyway, I started looking into this.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you,
it's Toto. Basically, it's
they
Toto.
played. I loved. Toto is definitely in there.
Toto is like the definition of yacht rock. You know that, right?
Yeah, and there were other names that back in the day. It was like mid 70s to mid 80s, and some of the names that they associated with yacht rock are West Coast Sound and soft rock, or you're going to love this one, adult oriented rock. Which I think is more now. That's the word now. That's the word they use now for that. But, I listened to that playlist, and the playlist is long. The one that Apple sent to me was long. And I must have listened to it for 3 hours. I just could not get enough. I was loving it. Loving it. And, last week it was really warm. We had our first summer last week. Well, actually, it's been the last month. We've had our first summer.
And then it got cold.
And now it's cold again. So we're going into, we've had, yesterday it was really cold. We're going to have 2 nights of really cold, like below 10 degrees Celsius. So like in the 40s is what some people who measure in Fahrenheit would experience. So we're going to have a couple nights in the 40s. And then we're going to gradually go back to our second summer.
And then it's going to go back down again.
Yes. So we're not quite into our last summer, but we will get into our second summer. Switzerland has these weird seasons. Like there's like 10 in a year. And every other month, you got something different.
Yeah.
So right now we're in a cool spot. So we're wearing sweaters. And
yes.
It's so crazy. But yeah, So, but yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
What do you remember? What do you think of rock and roll or rock?
I don't know. I can't listen to anything harder than like AC/DC. So
that's pretty hard.
It's not that. I've definitely heard worse. I know people who couldn't. I know people who listen to screamo to go to sleep.
I do too.
That's crazy. Like I could not do Metallica. Like that's too much for me. But like the Beatles and like Joan Jett and you were talking about Bob Seger earlier.
Yeah,
I think I only know one Bob Seger song.
What do you know?
That one that you were singing. I don't know the name of it, but I know that song. But I know like every Beatles song, so that's crazy.
That's so funny.
Or like Elvis. I had an Elvis phase.
Yes, you did. You had an Elvis phase, and it's so funny because your grandmother let you borrow a CD that I don't think you ever gave back.
I don't have the CD, so I don't.
Maybe you did give it back, but it took you years because she even asked for it for a while. I don't think she remembers now, but still, you did kept it for a little while. Yeah. She's like, "I'm not gonna get my Elvis CD back." It was kind of funny. But so when I think of early rock and roll music, the first person I think of is Elvis. But also, when I was younger, my parents listened to Chuck Berry.
Oh, I like Chuck Berry.
I love Chuck Berry. Yes, and so that was kind of my early experience with rock and roll.
What about oh my God, Little Richard? Would you count him? You would count him as rock?
I think I would count him as rock, even though he stayed with his blues. Upbringing, I guess is the best way to say it. His jazz and blues upbringing, his gospel.
Yeah.
But he absolutely, I think I would call him rock.
What about oh my God, the guy who sang "Shake, Rattle, and Roll"?
I don't know.
I have that on my phone.
Okay. I mean, I know the song, but do I know? Was that not? I guess it wasn't Chuck Berry.
Actually, hold on. I have it on a playlist.
Okay.
I have a doo-wop playlist.
Oh, I love it.
Bill Haley and His Comets.
Oh, Bill Haley and His Comets. Okay, that's some good stuff right there. Wow.
Yeah. Or Ray Charles isn't really rock and roll.
Yeah, I guess I would consider him jazz and blues, but yeah, but you know what? He came up during the rock era, so
yeah.
Not that
but
era
so did
gone.
the Jackson 5.
Yeah, they're more pop, I guess. Yeah, definitely.
Well, there was a specific style of music that they were, which was oh my God.
Would you call it Motown?
Yes, Motown is the specific style of music. So like the Temptations, the Jackson 5, the Pointer Sisters, I think maybe would be counted as Motown. Would that be
We
like a
still
specific
fall into
category
it
of
would be
rock?
it would be a subgenre
Like
of
rock
rock.
and roll?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
feel like rock and roll is definitely different than rock.
It is.
Rock and roll is more older.
Absolutely. Because
And
rock
then
and roll
rock
was
is
first.
like-
It was like rock and
yeah.
roll with Elvis and
Yeah.
others in the 50s.
Yeah.
And then you had, people kind of
Then
because
it
rock and
branched
roll
off.
actually had like the main instruments were like saxophone and piano.
Yeah. So it was like jazz, and then it was rock and roll, which branched off into pop and rock.
Yeah.
So.
And then you got several.
Yeah.
Like I said, several different subgenres of rock and of rock and roll, because you've got the soft rock, the yacht rock, and
then you got the heavy metals.
Yeah. And yeah. So yeah.
It's interesting.
It is kind of interesting, and to see music evolve, and that's what I love about someone who music has always been important to me, and I know I've said that more than one time on this show, because music pulls me out of some pretty low mental states. I mean, and I've always thought that music has, we've always encouraged y'all to listen to music, do things with music, and you do. I mean, some of you play instruments and you sing
I can
a little.
Play the
and
recorder.
Woo!
I can play one song on the recorder. I need to be clear about that. I can play Hot Cross Buns on the recorder.
Hot cross buns.
And I still remember how to play it, so
Okay, I don't remember that. That is the same music from Three Blind Mice.
Yes, it is.
When
Did you just now put that together?
Okay, no, I think I knew it way back when, but I just now put it together.
Okay.
But I'm only thinking it because when you did the play reading, she was saying Three Blind Mice, Three Blind Mice.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I should have. It would have been easier to say Hot Cross Buns, because, there's a horrible line in Three Blind Mice. She cut off their tails with a carving knife.
Yeah, but Hot Cross Buns wasn't a song when the play came out. And also, we can't talk about the play!
I'm not saying anything else, but I'm just saying.
We're not saying what play it was.
Yeah. And I'm not even saying the author, the writer. No. But anyway, I just... I mean, to think that that's a children's song, they're talking about cutting animals' tails off with a carving knife.
Oh my gosh,
and I used to sing that to you guys.
All children's stories and songs are really dark. So I was thinking about this yesterday when we were talking about Sweet Home Alabama and Werewolves in London, how they're the same song, and I can't remember, I'm pretty sure I learned that they actually they came out around the same time, and the people who wrote them didn't hear the other song at all.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about that, but it made me think about this. The English National Anthem, because we learned this one too. The English National Anthem and My Country 'Tis of Thee have the same melody, completely written at the same time, completely did not hear, the people who wrote them did not hear the other one.
Yes, because that was pre-internet.
Yes. And it's fascinating.
It really is, because, what I was so fascinated about last night, we were at a bar, just to let y'all know. And I promise, I can go to a bar and drink alcohol-free beer, and I actually don't have any problem with that. I actually kind of enjoy it now. Now that I've gotten into it, I'm like really enjoying it.
Well, the alcohol-free beers are actually just as good as the ones with alcohol.
Yeah, I had alcohol-free Guinness last night.
The alcohol-free Guinness is so good.
Yeah, it was good. But the playlist that they were playing, because we were there.
They've played that exact same playlist before, because we've heard them play Sweet Home Alabama before.
And so I was like, man, it's just like, we had already decided that we were going to talk about rock music. And then the playlist, we had something to say about every song that came on. And I thought, this is so funny.
They were only playing American music, though.
They were, and they were doing it all in English. It was all the songs were played in English. And I know they've dubbed some of these in German or French, but, that last night they definitely were playing the original songs. There were no covers, and it was just something. It was kind of funny, but a lot of fun. We did get to see the end of one of the soccer games, Denmark and
Germany.
Germany won, so...
Yep.
We're just not sure how we feel about that, but it doesn't matter, because, right, Swiss won the other night. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I did get a Swiss bucket hat, and it's not corduroy.
Ooh.
I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm so excited it's not the corduroy, because I know I complained a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to get one, but didn't want to get corduroy. But, the other day when I placed the order for the food, they had one on Cope, that they had for like 10 francs. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and get it. If it's corduroy, I'll wear it in the winter. But it wasn't.
Well, I mean, you can wear it now.
Yeah, I'm going to wear it. Well, yeah, because it's cold now. You're right. It is cold now, which is just, yeah, you know, I mean, I remember a couple cold nights in July before. So it's kind of funny to us that we get to go through. This is why you can't really put your clothes away. I mean, you know, you know, I always say, oh, it's time to put the clothes away. But you know what? You can't.
No.
Can't put the clothes away because there's going to be a cold day mixed in with a hot day.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, my hair's just falling in my face.
Okay. That's why I put my hair up. Because I can't leave my hair down because it gets in my face.
Yeah.
And I don't like
well, it's definitely so flat on the top. I'm not happy, but it looks like I've been wearing my Swiss bucket hat. But I'm not. But yeah, you know, I'm using that spray that you got. See, you could have just used the spray. You should be using it.
Well, I couldn't remember. You're not supposed to use it on dyed hair.
Oh, never mind.
It says that. I told you that already. The instructions on it say don't use it if you've dyed your hair.
Which I haven't. So but it does look like I have.
Yeah. Well, because it's the same stuff that's in the box, except that it's not as like.
As strong.
Yeah.
And you don't leave it on for as long, I guess.
Yeah. But anyway, music, rock and roll.
Yeah, back to rock and roll. Yeah. Well, okay, so I do love the Beatles. But you know, when I think of something that gets me through, it's definitely Queen.
Okay.
So Queen is my go-to rock band. Just, you know, I love the story of the band. I loved that biopic. Biopic or biopic? What is it? Biopic?
Biopic.
Okay. So I love the biopic of Bohemian Rhapsody. Is that what it was called? It was so good that told that story. It was so, so good. I had a coworker that went to see it in theaters. And she was just crazy about it.
I still haven't seen it.
It was so good, so good. And I thought, well, you know, I didn't get to go see it in theaters because, you know, it's not something your dad and I do. And
except that he's taking me to see all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies in the theaters. Or the 3 first ones. I don't know if there's another one now. I don't think so.
Okay.
Or maybe
but
just
again,
the first
he
2.
doesn't take me very often. So, you know.
Well, he didn't take me because I wanted to go. He took me because he wanted to go.
Okay. So he just doesn't want to go with me. Then let's just leave that out there, I guess. And so when it came out on Amazon Prime, I bought it.
Yeah.
And I have watched it several times, and I do love that story. But my favorite thing about, you know, telling my favorite part to tell about what I know about Queen is in Switzerland, there's a casino in Montreux. This is where they hold the jazz festival, which, by the way, is going on right now. I should go tomorrow. They hold this jazz festival every year, and in the casino, there's this what they call the Queen Experience. And there's memorabilia from the band, because the band used to kind of come to Switzerland and have sessions where they would be kind of out of the public eye and just be doing their work, you know, writing songs, putting together albums and things like that. And so there's, you know, there's the mixing board that you can kind of play around with their songs kind of tuned into it. There's a little video that tells little stories about the band, and you know, but there's also Freddie Mercury's costumes and just some of the notes that they took down, you know, original writings from it's just one of my favorite things to do, and it's free. And so I love going there. But there's this story that they tell about one time when Queen was there, and there were some bands playing, and it may have been during Jazz Festival, but I don't know 100% sure because they don't tell that part of the story. But there's a song by Deep Purple called Smoke on the Water. And if you read the lyrics, it tells about a story when Frank Zappa was I think it was at that same casino that is now rebuilt, burned down the casino on, you know, Lake Geneva in Montreux. So they mentioned the town of Montreux, they mentioned Lake Geneva, and, you know, it just kind of tells the story
Isn't
of that casino burning down.
the song "Made in Heaven" by Queen is also about Lake Geneva, right?
I don't know.
I thought that's what they said at the.
Oh,
Is
you
that
know
not what they
what?
said?
I don't know. Maybe so, but I don't know. I just don't remember. So I'm glad you remember. No, I don't remember everything from there. I have to go back and experience it again.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a story about when they did a collaboration with. I'm trying to think of his
David Bowie.
David Bowie. Why I don't know
Under pressure.
why I went blank on that. But yeah, what happened
Were
was
you under pressure?
David Bowie came into the studio, and because he was in Switzerland at the same time that they were there, he came into the studio and he said, "I've got this riff in my head," and he kind of tuned it out. And so they said, "Well, let's go get." I don't remember if it was breakfast or lunch, but anyway, they were going to go eat all together. They get back and they go back into the studio, and David Bowie says, "Shit, I don't remember it now." He says, "I completely forgot it." And one of Queen's band members says, "Oh no, I got it," and starts playing it out. He says, "Oh yeah, that's it." So they did a collaboration, and the song is "Under Pressure." Is really. I can't do it. Obviously, I'm not good with music, but anyway, it's in my head now. But I thought that was really kind of cool how they tell the story of that collaboration. But it just is such a fun thing to do, and I love Queen. I do listen to Queen. That is kind of my Saturday morning wake up music. So that I can wake up to. See, but I can't wake up to something heavier than that. But yeah, so I definitely have a Queen playlist, and I love it. And that's my thing. But I mean, when I don't know. I mean, do you play rock and roll on your phone?
I listen to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and I listen to Queen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I have a lot of I have rock on my phone. There's that one song by The Offspring, and then I have what's the other song that I have? I have one song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Can't Stop, that song. That's the only song no, I know another song, but is Hotel California the Red Hot Chili Peppers? No, that's not.
No, that's the Eagles.
That's what I thought. Okay, I was like, that's not right.
That's mine.
Can't Stop is the only song I know by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Yeah, but I do have "Don't Stop Me Now" on my running playlist to make me feel better when I'm running.
Yeah. I can understand that. I have a hill climbing playlist, and Lady Gaga she is dispersed all throughout that playlist.
I also have "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" by Michael Jackson on my running playlist.
Don't stop till you get enough. Keep on.
Exactly.
Don't stop. I get that. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. That would help me run. Yeah. But Lady Gaga definitely gives me that girl power to get up those hills. I'm telling you, I love it. Music is it just really does help me with exercise.
Okay, I also have "Believe" by Cher on my running playlist because when it comes on and I'm running and I want to stop, I'm like, you know what? Cher would believe in you.
That's
you have to go. She would believe in you.
Absolutely. Yes, and I love Cher. I will say, I think it was 2023 when her Christmas album came out. And I'm telling you what, the day it came out at the end of October. And I downloaded it the day it came out, because I think it came out like October 23rd or something like that. And there was going to be a whole week before I could listen to Christmas music. So I downloaded the album, and I waited that week. And let me tell you, I made plans on November 1st to get on a train and just ride. A long, long ride, wherever I could go. So I think I planned to go to Lucerne. And then from Lucerne, I was going to go to Mount Riggy because that's a long train ride. And I could listen to the whole album. Yeah. And I just was like, oh, loving it.
Well, I also have that thing where, every time I'm on a plane, if we're taking off or landing, I have to listen to Ed Sheeran.
Okay.
I think I said this on the music episode. Yeah. Because it's so weird.
No, I think that music definitely gives us patterns to kind of, and I'm a pattern person, I think in math, I think in numbers, I think in patterns, and I think in pictures. So to music does that for me. And like I said, I think music's very important to a lot of people. It definitely 100% gets me out of a nasty, because I can get pretty down. And I'll forget to be listening to music. And someone will have to remind me, well, have you listened to any music that you like lately? And I don't tend to, I don't work in retail anymore, so I don't know the new music. And you can tell when I stopped working in retail because my music stops at Linkin Park.
That's also.
I think I know. I don't have any new stuff. I think beyond that, unless Apple suggests it to me. And so,
Well, Ed Sheeran has a new album coming out.
Oh, okay. Here he's been jaunting around all over Europe, just showing up places in the street.
Well, he's been showing up places in the U.S. too. He showed up in Boston like 3 times in March.
But that was around. Seriously, that was in March around St. Patrick's Day. Yes, he did. Yeah.
I was like, "Are you kidding me? He couldn't have done this last March."
Yeah. Sorry.
He's gonna be in Switzerland
this week.
No, but at some point this summer, maybe this week. I don't know.
We need to look it up. Yeah, because he might be going to if he's going to the jazz festival. I mean, I know that would be. Here's the beauty of this jazz festival, you guys. If y'all ever visit Switzerland, come in July. Well, I'm not telling you what to do. A good time to come might be July. Don't know
not
about
this
the weather.
July. Not this July. Everything is happening right now.
They have new up and coming artists that play for free. You just walk down the street and there's new up and coming artists. So yes, there are paid concerts that you can't get into unless you spend a lot of money, but that's not what it's all about. It's all about bringing the new artists to a fun place, and it's such a beautiful city. It is a striking city in the summer. The foliage there, it's right on the water. Oh my goodness, I love Montreux. It's definitely one of my favorite places to visit, and I think I've taken every one of my children to Montreux except Ren. Ren has not been there. I didn't discover Montreux until after Ren had moved back to the U.S., and so when he comes back, I will definitely take him.
I told him he has to come visit.
Yeah, well, I was telling your dad, it's kind of Ren's turn.
Yeah.
If we're paying for somebody to come visit, even though some others are saying, I'm ready to come back. Yeah, so. So, but I also would like to get Justin and his family here. So that's gonna, take a big collaboration with finances and stuff. So yeah, but it's a great time. I love music, and so I think that I am gonna look to see what's going on in Montreux this week and next week, and try to get down there. Because. Yeah, it's just such a great time to be there. So, and also, my favorite thing to do in summer would just get on a boat. There's some great boat rides from Montreux and to Montreux. So, So, yeah, fun stuff. Trying to think, anything else you think about music, rock music in particular?
I don't know. I really like Joan Jett.
I do too.
But I think I only know 2 songs by Joan Jett, which is I Love Rock and Roll and then Bad Reputation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love rock and roll.
That's also on my running playlist.
Jukebox, baby. Yeah, I love that one. That reminds me of when I was a younger person. I don't want to say teenager because honestly, I might have been in my 20s. I don't know, but most likely when I was a teenager. Yeah. So.
But I think that's it. I don't know that much about. I don't know. I think a little more about pop music than anything else.
Yeah. So, I guess with pop music, you've got synthesizers and different types of options for music. Whereas in rock and roll, you really do have the instrumentals, and that's kind of a big part of it. I assume that's what it is.
I think so, yeah.
But the yacht rock music I was talking about earlier, a lot of those songs did tell stories, or they just told about fun things people did. And I think back on that, when I listen to that, I think
about the rains down in Africa.
Yeah, they definitely do. Or hold the line. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the Christmas song, the Straight No Chaser, 12 Days of Christmas, where they start singing
Oh, yes.
Africa by Toto. Christmas time in Africa.
Yeah, I do. I like my music, so about any music.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm kind of pumped. Get to go to a concert. Might try, like I said, I'm gonna try to get down to Montreux in the next few days and see what I can do there. But you guys come visit us. We'd love to kind of run around and explore with you. And we hope you've enjoyed kind of listening today.
Yep. We'll be back next week with a new bottle of wine and a new topic. In the meantime, if you want to join the conversation, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Wine Together Pod. Follow our Facebook group, Wine Together Podcast. And if you don't want to miss out on our regular weekly episodes, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as liking, subscribing, and commenting on our YouTube Wine Together Podcast.